So it's pretty safe to say that the PS5 is on its way. We've all known it for a while, just we don't know when. Most people predicting sort of 2019, 2021, sort of the next couple of years, and it's inevitable that it's going to be called the PS5 as well, because Sony have not deviated away from the PlayStation then a number way of naming the console since it was first released back in the mid-90s. Well, today we have finally got official information on the PS5, when it's possibly going to be releasing, the specs of it, the architecture, all this stuff, and I'm super excited to dive into this one with you guys. Hopefully you guys are excited for this. If you are, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you're new around here. Make sure you subscribe and notifications on. But for now, let's take a look at the brand new PS5 details. Let's do it. So last generation, the consoles were pretty damn powerful, especially when you take into consideration the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. They are really powerful machines, capable of some pretty awesome graphics and gameplay, even supporting 4K resolution. And obviously the Google Stadia is coming out very soon, which is rumored to be more powerful than both the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X combined. So Sony and Microsoft both have a lot of work on their hands to make a competing console that is going to be worth the jump from the PS4 and Xbox One over to these new platforms, and Sony are definitely going to deliver on that. Obviously PC gaming is always going to be one step ahead of console gaming, but these are just plug-in and play packages where you buy the console, you plug it in, and you're good to go for a few years. So there's always going to be some kind of downgrade as opposed to buying high-end PC stuff, but high-end PC stuff is much more expensive and you've got to keep on top of it, otherwise it becomes outdated pretty damn fast. But the PS5, man, I've said PS4 and I've got my words jumbled up so many times trying to film this bit because it's so hard to not say PS4 and being used to it for so long. But the PS5 definitely has nothing to worry about, at least in the short term, because if the specs are to be believed, then this is going to be one absolutely killer console, potentially even killing Microsoft before the PS5 is even being released. These specs are absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to share them with you guys. Let's just do it. Now, there's been a lot of articles today after The Wire did an interview with Sony where they detailed a lot of the PS5 specs and what they're expecting from it, but I've got an article here from The Verge which kind of condenses everything down and makes it a little bit easier to read. So we're going to go through these specs now, but it says that Sony is promising that the PS5 will support 8K graphics, 3D audio, super fast SSDs and backwards compatibility with existing PS4 games. So that means that all of you lovely folks can play Fortnite on the PS5 day one. Don't lie to me, that's exactly what you want to buy a PS5 for. You want to buy a PS5 to play Fortnite. Don't lie to me. But obviously over the last couple of years, Sony have released the PS4 Pro, Microsoft have released the Xbox One X, both capable of doing 4K gaming, and now Sony have promised that they're going to take it one step up and do 8K, which is absolutely fantastic considering that 8K isn't really about at the minute, especially not in people's homes. To tell you the truth, I haven't even upgraded from 1080p, and then my TV downstairs is actually 1080i, and I've never felt a need to upgrade because it's still a pretty damn good TV and definitely looks good, and it still does the job for me. So I haven't even jumped on board for 4K yet, and they are already promising 8K on the PS5 in the next year or two whenever the console is going to be released. Now obviously the other big thing is the SSDs, which is going to mean that the load times are going to be super fast as opposed to the PS4 and Xbox One, which currently use regular hard disks for SATA drives. And although this is going to be absolutely fantastic, I've got one little hesitation, and that's because SSDs aren't meant to have data written on them and rewrote on them over and over again. Obviously you can reinstall, uninstall games, download new games all the time on a console, so the memory isn't really meant to do that. They will wear out a lot quicker. Eventually certain parts of the memory of the hard drive won't be able to be wrote on, and the I'm trying to think if I'm saying this right. Basically, the storage capacity will get lower. Some of the sections of the hard drive can't be wrote onto. So that's kind of one hesitation that I've got with the fact that we might see a lot more drive failures long term with the PS5 as opposed to what we're seeing now with the PS4 and Xbox One. So hopefully we've got this one figured out. Hopefully these drives can support a lot of writing and rewriting data, otherwise we could have a bit of a problem on our hands in a couple of years after the PS5 has been released, and I'm sure that's something that Sony has thought about when designing the PS5 and obviously the choice of hard drive that they're going to be using. And the other big thing is backwards compatibility with existing PS4 games, because the architecture for the PS4 and PS5 are going to be very similar. It's going to mean that they're going to be able to do backwards compatibility with no problem, whereas like the PS3 and PS4 architecture was so different that it pretty much made it impossible or very difficult to get working. So right out the box, day one, you're still going to be able to play your existing PS4 library, which means that I imagine there's going to be PS4 games coming out for quite a while longer after the PS5 is launched. So you can get rid of your old PS4 and still continue. You don't have to sell your games, you don't have to keep another console, you can just use your PS5 for everything. And yeah, that's going to be super cool, because it means we don't have to have multiple pieces of hardware just to play certain games. All your library will be compatible day one with the PS5. Now moving on to the architecture, it seems that a lot of consoles are using AMD these days. I believe both Sony and Microsoft are both using AMD for their architecture for their consoles, and the PS5 will be using an 8-core Ryzen 3rd generation CPU. I believe the 3rd gen CPUs are coming out very soon. I think it's maybe in the next month or two if they're not already out now. And yeah, the PS5 is going to be supporting it. They're going to be using that in their consoles, which is going to be fantastic, because the Ryzen stuff is absolutely great. It's great bang for the buck, and it definitely makes sense to put that in a console as opposed to, well, Intel would be the other logical step to go. But AMD is great bang for the buck. They're great, especially good for what the consoles are doing. They've got the 8 cores. It's going to be great for all the multitasking, and yeah, it definitely makes sense. And the fact that it's 3rd gen and 3rd gen is only just being released in the near future for PCs is definitely a good sign that it's going to be able to keep up with the times for quite a while to come, because that won't get outdated for a while. So yeah, that's a great choice. I'm very happy to see that. I currently use Intel on my PC, but when the time comes that I build my next PC, there's like a 95% chance I'm going to be going Ryzen, because it's just that good, especially for the sort of stuff I do, all the video editing, the music production and that. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that Sony are going to be using a 3rd gen Ryzen as well. Who knows, we might actually share a similar CPU between my computer and my PS5 when the PS5 launches in the next sort of year or two. So yeah, that's super cool. And it's also worth mentioning that the PS5 is going to be supporting ray tracing. Obviously, that was the big thing that came out with the brand new NVIDIA cards for 20 series. They now support ray tracing, which makes the game look a little bit better, but it is very intensive on the GPU, and they're actually going to be supporting this in the PS5. So that's going to show that it's going to be top of the line hardware going into this thing, so it's definitely not going to get outdated anytime soon. They're going full out with the architecture for the CPU and the GPU. It's all going to be up-to-date stuff to compete with the PC market, which is essentially what they've got to do these days, because PC gaming is getting so big. It was always big anyway, but now I think a lot of console people are going over to the PC gaming for sort of better graphical experiences. So Sony knows that they have to step with their game and really sort of compete with it and stop people from building new PCs to go play games on, rather than just going to buy a PS5. So yeah, they're definitely stepping their game up with this. Whether it's going to influence the price point to a point where it's not very viable, I'm not totally sure. I believe like the Xbox One X was like 500 quid out of the box when it first launched. You can get them a bit cheaper now, but obviously that sort of £500-600 would definitely put the PS5 out of reach for a lot of people, especially in the early goings. So it's kind of cost versus performance, definitely going to be a good thing to keep an eye out, because if the console's going to be like 600 quid, there's no chance that I'm getting one anytime soon. It has to stay within that sort of like 350 kind of mark to definitely be competitive with a lot of people like myself who aren't made of money. And if that's the case, I'd rather just keep my PS4 for another year or two, which would suck, but it is what it is. Like I said, unless they can get this hardware cost down, it's definitely going to be put out of a lot of reach for a lot of people, which is a shame. But the specs are absolutely fantastic, and I'm super hyped for start to see games coming out of this and sort of seeing what is going on. And the devs have already got dev kits for the PS5, so games are currently being made right this second as you're watching this video. There's developers out there in the world making PS5 games, which is fantastic. It shows that the console is not going to be as far away as we think it's going to be. They reckon that it's going to probably be a 2020 release. It's not going to release in 2019, so 2020 definitely seems logical. Whether they'll reveal anything at E3 this year, I don't think actually at E3 this year, I don't think they are. Maybe they'll be saving it for next year, so I imagine maybe they'll reveal it maybe like E3 2020, and then it will probably come out sort of like October, November 2020 as well, which will be awesome. And one other bit of news is that it will not be a discless system. A lot of rumours have been going around that the next gen of consoles won't have disc drives, it'll be fully digital. That is not going to be the case, especially with the PS5. Maybe the Microsoft are going to do it with the new Xbox, I'm not entirely sure. But the PS5 will both have discs and digital downloads like they do now. Whether they're using Blu-ray still, whether they're going for a new type of disc to increase storage even further, I'm not entirely sure. But as of right now, it's safe to say that it's going to be Blu-rays and digital downloads the same as it is on the PS4. So that's pretty much all the information that we've got so far on the PS5. Not a great deal of information, but there's still quite a bit there to sink our teeth into and think about. I'm super hyped for this one. Like I said, my biggest concern is the SSDs, whether it's going to cause a lot of drive failures over the years after the PS5's release, and also the cost, because the architecture is absolutely top notch. They haven't sort of downgraded anything. It is all current generation of hardware. And like I said, the CPUs are just coming out for a PC, the Ryzen 3rd gen, they're going into the PS5. Ray tracing is the brand new thing that came out last year for the Nvidia cards, that's going to be in there. So there's potential that it's going to be out of the price point of a lot of people, which sucks, but hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully they can sort of mass produce this to the point where the cost comes down that much that it's still very much affordable for all of us. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section about the PS5. Are you getting one? Are you hyped for it? Are you a Sony guy? Are you a Microsoft guy? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, do you want to see more like this on the channel, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe and notifications on. Click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, click all. That way you'll never miss out when a video goes live on the channel. My name is Doodles. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.